It's juicy, it's ferocious, it's difficult to say. Today we're drinking Yelamu. Hi guys, it's Jim here from drtankardstein.com with another episode of Beers of the British Isles. This is the show where I scour the aisles of supermarkets all across the country to find you what beers are the best to drink. On today's episode, we're drinking a collaboration brew, a special collaboration brew in my eyes. It's Yelamu. This is a collaboration between two giants of Magic Rock and Thornbridge. Now this costs £3 from, I got it from Tesco, but you can get this everywhere. You can get it from the breweries themselves. You can get it from, all the online retailers as well as supermarkets. It's widely available. As a £3 from supermarkets, it's a 7.4% double IPA in a 440ml can. I mean, for £3, it's a pretty good deal you're getting in the supermarket there. Now, a double IPA is basically it's an IPA, but a little bit more. It's a little bit hoppier, it's a little bit stronger, it's a little bit more bitter. This being Thornbridge and Magic Rock, I imagine it's an American IPA, a double American IPA style. So it's pretty big in a 7.4. Now, typically, in this kind of IPA, because they want the hops to be the main focus, and it's so strong, you've got so much sugar in there, typically they'll add things like sugar and other adjuncts to the malt bill to kind of thin the body out a little bit, lose a little bit of body, just so it doesn't feel like you're chewing through a really sort of syrupy floral mess. These guys haven't done this in this beer. In fact, Yelamu, which by the way I called Yemalu for about a year. When I first saw it, I called it Yemalu for about a year. So if I switch back and forth, that's what I'm doing. They haven't gone the other way. They haven't like souped the malt bill up, but they definitely haven't shied away from anything. We've got Munich malt, we've got wheat, we've got crystal malt and Cara Pils, Cara Malt, the grain that's known to add body and head retention, and then almost like a Diet Coke at the end of a meal. We've got low color Marisotta, but it's still Marisotta. It's still a super flavorful malt that they've got in there. Let's put this into context for people who aren't brewers, people who aren't familiar with what I've just said. Normally in a beer like this, you would have some pale ale malt, maybe a little bit of crystal malt for sweetness, and then perhaps you would have either nothing else or some sugar, which would thin the beer out because sugar doesn't bring any protein to the beer. What they've done here is essentially the reverse of that. Munich malt, super flavorful, bready malt. Crystal malt, very sweet and tasty. Wheat massively bumps up the body and the head of the beer. And then Marisotta is, well, in my mind, it's the best base malt because it's so flavorful. So what these guys have done is they haven't held anything back basically in the malt bill. So that's going to be interesting. Typical Magic Rock Thornbridge beer, they're using Amarillo, Simcoe, and Mosaic hops. So Simcoe, Amarillo, they're kind of classic American hops. You've got kind of that sort of really grapefruit, kind of almost piney hop flavor coming from those two. And then Mosaic just shoots them both in the face with absolutely everything that brings, mango, pineapple, just a tropical fruit mess. So I'm pretty excited for this. Let's dive in, see what it tastes like. It's in the glass. I'm not going to waste much time except to tell you that it's cold. You can probably tell that by the condensation beading up and dribbling down the can there. If we do take a look at the appearance of this beer first thing draws my eye is the incredible head retention. Like I say, they've really held nothing back in the malt bill here. They've got wheat, and they've got Cara malt, which, you know, there's some literature around at the moment which says that might not help, but it certainly, well, I don't think it hurts. So the head is great. This has been in the glass for a little while now, and the head is still as strong as ever. The second thing to note on the appearance is just its glowing, absolutely glowing colour. That kind of mid haze. It's not a juice bomb. It's not really super opaque. It doesn't look like juice, but it is really quite hazy. And that haze mixed with that kind of colour that they have going on, it really makes for a attractive looking beer. I'm just gonna give it a sniff. Okay. No, it's not for an IPA like this. It's not super aromatic, actually. Yeah. So the aroma that you can smell is kind of that, like I said, sort of piney, sort of. It's not citrus. It's kind of a juicy aroma. Yeah, it's kind of hard to place, to be honest. It's a mixture of things. It's all things coming together. Now, I'm going to dive in. Oh yeah. Okay, so I don't have any IBU information on this, but it's nicely bitter. Oh, yeah, and the bitterness offsets that really just big, bold malt backbone. Now, that doesn't steal the show, whereas in another beer it might. It doesn't steal the show. It's kind of complementary to the bitterness. But yeah, I mean, I'll give you some descriptors here, what I'm tasting. Okay, so really nice and bitter. It's kind of resinous as well. It has a really kind of, the hop flavor really coats your mouth. It's that sort of, it's not what you would describe as dank, I don't think, but it is kind of, it does really get in there and get in every little crack of your mouth. Crisp bitterness. It makes it super crisp despite all the malts that they've put in it. Overlying flavors, I would say, yeah, grapefruit, bordering on tropical, but it's really not overpowering. It's kind of like it's a real palate. Like I said with the aroma, it's sort of citrusy, but it's kind of a blend of things. That's the same with the palate here, and really full bodied, really well done. The brewers behind this beer are Magic Rock. I've discussed Magic Rock before over in Huddersfield. Really good beer brewery. Hard to argue with those guys. And Thornbridge. I remember, so Thornbridge are based in Bakewell, which isn't too far from where I am here in Sheffield. They have a great brewery as well. They don't have they have kind of silo pubs rather than having the tap room like Magic Rock does. Thornbridge kind of have these like silo pubs, and then they open the brewery up once a month. So if you're around Bakewell at the end of any month, I think, maybe not for a few months yet, but because we're in 2020 now, so it's all a bit up in the air. Head down to Thornbridge because it's a great day. They got a great brewery tour on, rotating casks, kegs, cans. And a lot of the time what Thornbridge do, which is really good, is they'll have the same beer on cask and keg and in can, so you can try the same beer 3 different ways, and it's always remarkable how different they are. But yeah, I remember being down in Thornbridge in Bakewell, I think it was 2017-ish, and I was in the tap room and I just saw a box of Magic Rock beers that I think had just been dropped off because Huddersfield, Bakewell, not that far apart. I just thought, man, I hope these guys get together on something one day. And here it is. Now, This is very much the can, the name, everything about this screams Thornbridge, if I'm honest. If it wasn't for this little dot on the bottom, I wouldn't even know it was a Magic Rock beer, if I'm honest. But they're in there, they're on the can, and I'm glad these guys teamed up. How do I sum up Yelamu? Difficult name to start off with. I'm not sure what the hell that means. I'm hoping they just kind of made it up. We're like, okay, yeah, let's, they can deal with that. Right, so the appearance is absolutely fantastic. Really looks the part for what you'd imagine. If I'm honest, a double IPA like this, I wouldn't have imagined this haziness. But with the haze comes a real lot of flavor, so I'm kind of glad that it's hazy. It's also just super attractive. Maybe a few years ago I would have thought this was an ugly beer, but now you know, tastes change. It looks great. It smells okay, and you know what? After you've tasted it and you kind of know what you're looking for in the aroma, it's a lot more aromatic. So the aroma. Yeah, there is a piney citrus note to it, bordering on tropical. So, what are the words are there that I could use? I kind of used them all there, right? Yeah, but kind of piney in that it really jumps down your nose, and then the citrus tropical. I'm talking on the border there of those two things. The flavor. All I'm going to say is you can tell that they didn't want to cut corners. You can tell that they had a beer in mind, and when it came to deciding what needs to be taken out to thin the body or whatever, you know, they literally held nothing back here. It's got everything. It's crisp, it's bitter, yet it's got a sweetness in the aftertaste. Resiny hop character that just really clings to your mouth and sticks there, but not in a clawing way. If it wasn't 7.4%, I would say that I could drink this beer all day, every day. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to find a friend to drink this one with because it's really quite alcoholic. You can't tell that, but you know, my cheeks are starting to go a little bit rosy now, so you sort of know. Right, so I like this beer. Piney, citrus tropical, malt stays out of the way, but really brings it up forward in the body and the feel. Tropical hop character is absolutely great. If this beer were a song, I'm gonna say it's a song called "Hard to Explain" by the Cat Empire, because that is from start to finish. That song just brings it all. It absolutely smacks you in the face, much like this beer does. It's a real nice happy song. You know, this just looks like a summer's day, doesn't it? It looks like a summer's day, and couple that with the beautiful pink can it comes in. You know, you can't argue. This is a happy beer. That's a happy song, and Hard to Explain. I can barely pronounce the name, so there you go. Head down to Tesco, head to the breweries online, get yourselves down to the breweries in person. Grab yourselves a Yelamu and let me know what you think. If you do like this beer, like I always say, take the can down to your local independent bottle shop, tell them that you like it, and they'll have shelves full of double IPAs for you to feast on. In the meantime, guys, cheers.